Have you noticed that the world around us is slowly becoming colorless? You walk into a model home today, you see gray walls, you see white ceilings, you see black furnitures, you see neutral floors, and you see neutral curtains. Everything is clean, everything is elegant, and everything is minimal. But sometimes I look around and ask myself, where did all the personality go? Because perhaps in our pursuit of modern architecture, we are slowly designing the character out of our space. Well, as you know, I'm the Billionaire Architect, and I help you avoid costly building mistakes that could save you millions. Now, before someone says, but architect, minimalist is good. Of course, yes, it is. I'm not against minimalism. I'm not against neutral colors. And again, I'm not against modern architecture. But the real question is this: when did being modern connote that everything has to look the same? Because architecture is not all about making a building beautiful. Architecture is about creating an environment that communicates something. And one of the powerful ways we communicate through space is through colors. Now, color is not just decoration. Colors influences how we perceive space, experience emotions, and remember places. For example, warm colors like red, yellow, and orange can create feelings of energy, warmth, and excitement. Then cool colors like blue and green can create a sense of calm, tranquility, and freshness. Then earth tones can make a place feel grounded and connected to nature. And darker tones can create intimacy, depth, and sophistication when they are being used intentionally. So when an architect selects a color palette, it shouldn't simply be because the color is trending on Pinterest. There should be a reason behind every choice of color. Now the question should be, what do we want people to feel when they enter into a certain space? What story are we trying to tell? What is the identity of the person living here? What is the identity of the business occupying this building? What is the identity of the community? And that's where design becomes architecture. And this is not just only happening with colors. Let's take a look around our cities. Different buildings are beginning to look like variations of the same building. Same box, same glass, same white color, same black aluminum, same suspended ceiling, same tiles, same luxury aesthetics. And because social media constantly exposes us to what is trending, we increasingly and subconsciously design our home to look like something we've already seen online. And we are forgetting to ask some of the most important questions. What represents me? But instead, we're asking questions like, what is trending? And there is a huge difference between these two questions. Now, architecture has always been a reflection of the society. Now, look at traditional African architecture, for example. You will notice the deliberate choice of colors, the patterns, the textures, the materials, the craftsmanship, the courtyards, the relationship between climate and community. These weren't random aesthetics decisions because they were expressions of culture, environment, and identity. But today, we import an aesthetic without importing the context that made that aesthetics meaningful. And that's where we need to be careful. Now, modern architecture does not mean abandoning our identity. We can create contemporary spaces while still incorporating the colors, materials, textures, craftsmanship, and cultural elements that make our environment uniquely ours. Because modern doesn't have to mean soulless. Now, here's something I want homeowners and developers to understand. Good design is not about using more colors. It's about using the right colors for the right purpose. You don't need to paint every wall red. You don't need 10 different materials in one room. You don't need to make a building loud just to make it unique. Sometimes the most sophisticated spaces are actually restrained, but there should be some form of intention behind the restraint. There should be balance, there should be contrast, there should be texture, there should be identity, because the goal isn't just to make a building beautiful, it's to make a building memorable. And this is one of the things I think architecture should do differently. When someone gives me a project, I don't want the first question to be, what style is trending? I want to know who you are, how do you live, what are your values, what do you want people to feel when they enter your space, what story should your building be telling? Because when we understand the person behind the project, we can create something that's not just beautiful, but personal. So if you are planning to build a home, office, commercial space, or even if you want to develop a property, don't start with, I want something modern. Start with, I want something that represents who I am and what I'm building. Then allow the architecture communicate that, because your building is more than walls, is more than concrete, is more than finishes. Your building is a statement, and you deserve a space that tells your story. So the question is this: are we slowly losing our colors? Well, maybe, but I don't think the answer is to bring back more colors. I think the answer is to bring back intentional designs, bring back identity, bring back culture, bring back creativity, and most importantly, bring back the human being into architecture. Because the future of architecture shouldn't just be about buildings that look good. It should be about buildings that mean something. And I'm the Billionaire Architect, and I believe that we shouldn't just build structures, we should also build identities.